There's a country standing at the crossroads of the 21st century, ancient and modern, spiritual and industrial, chaotic yet full of potential. That country is India. For decades, the world has looked at India as the next big thing, a rising superpower ready to shape the future of global economics. It has all the right ingredients: a massive population that's still growing, a youthful workforce hungry for opportunity, a booming tech scene, and a position in global trade that most nations could only dream of. It's the world's largest democracy, the fifth largest economy, and a land where billionaires and street vendors share the same pavement, a portrait of progress and struggle painted in vivid color. But here's the question that keeps economists awake at night. With so much potential, why hasn't India become the global powerhouse everyone keeps predicting? Because potential is only half the story. The other half is reality. While India's numbers impress on paper, its streets tell another story. Crumbling infrastructure, income inequality, unemployment, and bureaucratic red tape still haunt the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Its booming population, once seen as an unmatched advantage, now flirts dangerously with becoming a burden. For every tech startup that makes headlines, there are thousands of young Indians still searching for stable work, fighting to survive in a system that grows faster than it can sustain. Yet, India keeps moving, factories hum, cities expand, satellites rise into space. Every setback is met with an unshakable belief that India's time will come. Many compare it to China, saying India will eventually follow the same path to industrial and economic dominance. But India isn't China. It's an entirely different story. A democracy driven by diversity, debate, and sometimes dysfunction. And that difference could either be India's greatest strength or its most fatal weakness. So, as global industries look for an alternative to China, as technology reshapes every job and every market, the world once again turns its eyes eastward, asking, can India finally deliver on its long-promised miracle? Or will it remain the eternal potential? A story of what could have been. This isn't just about economics. It's about identity, innovation, and the future of billions. Welcome to the untold story of India's economic paradox. A nation built for greatness, still fighting to rise above its own gravity. India's rise isn't just a prediction. It's a pattern that's already in motion. Over the last 2 decades, India has quietly transformed from a post-colonial developing nation into one of the fastest-growing economies on Earth. Today, it's home to more than 1.4 billion people, a population that's not only massive but young, energetic, and increasingly educated. That youth is India's greatest strength. While much of the developed world faces aging populations and shrinking workforces, India stands at the opposite end, with millions entering the job market every year, ready to build, code, and create. This demographic advantage could, in theory, fuel decades of unstoppable growth. Then there's geography. India sits at a trade crossroads between East and West. Its ports connect it to Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, while its growing tech hubs, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Mumbai, link it to the digital world. It's not just a nation on the map. It's becoming a bridge for global commerce. Culturally and linguistically, India also has a unique advantage: English. As the second largest English-speaking country in the world, India offers a direct connection between Western companies and Eastern markets. This linguistic edge has turned India into the world's back office, a hub for customer service, software development, and business outsourcing. And it doesn't stop there. India's industries are diversifying fast, from traditional agriculture to renewable energy, from manufacturing smartphones to launching satellites. The nation is quietly mastering the art of scaling up. Its service sector now contributes over 50% of its GDP, while its manufacturing output continues to expand through government initiatives like Make in India. Meanwhile, foreign investors are taking notice. As China's economy slows and global tensions rise, businesses are searching for the next stable, scalable, low-cost production hub, and India checks almost every box. The world's biggest brands, from Apple to Samsung, are now building factories on Indian soil. The country has become the world's fifth largest economy, and projections suggest it could soon overtake Japan and Germany to claim third place. But beyond numbers and projections lies something less tangible: belief. India's rise is powered as much by optimism as by economics. A belief that technology, youth, and democracy can coexist and thrive. That even with its imperfections, the world's largest democracy can find its own path to prosperity. Not by copying others, but by being unapologetically itself. Yet beneath this optimism, cracks begin to show. Because for every strength India has, there's a challenge waiting to test it. And as history shows, potential alone doesn't guarantee progress. For every nation on the rise, there's an invisible weight pulling it down. And for India, that weight comes in many forms. Despite being one of the fastest growing economies in the world, India's growth is uneven, a paradox of progress. In the same city, a billionaire's glass tower can overlook neighborhoods struggling with basic sanitation. While Mumbai and Bengaluru glow with modernity, hundreds of smaller towns still lack consistent electricity or clean water. This inequality is more than just an economic gap. It's a fracture in India's foundation. One of the biggest challenges lies in infrastructure. Roads that connect megacities often dissolve into dirt tracks just miles away. The supply chains that feed industries are frequently delayed by outdated logistics systems. Trains move millions every day, but often at speeds and conditions that belong to another century. The government is investing billions into modernizing transport, but progress is slow, and bureaucracy, corruption, and inefficiency continue to act as sand in the gears. Then there's education and skill development, the fuel of any modern economy. While India produces millions of graduates each year, not all are equipped for the jobs of tomorrow. A large portion of the workforce remains in low-skill, informal employment. For a country dreaming of becoming a tech superpower, this mismatch between skills and opportunities poses a serious threat. Unemployment remains another shadow over the economy. Every year, millions enter the job market, but the economy doesn't create enough positions to absorb them. This growing pressure among young people, full of ambition but lacking opportunity, can turn a demographic advantage into a ticking time bomb. Politics also plays its part. India's democracy is vibrant but complex. Policy changes often collide with regional politics, interest groups, and layers of red tape. Reforms take time, and while India's long-term goals are clear, its short-term actions are often tangled in political theater. Beyond all this lies a silent killer: poverty. Despite immense progress, over 150 million Indians still live below the poverty line. For them, the talk of economic growth feels distant and abstract. They measure success not in GDP points, but in the cost of rice and the promise of stable work. And yet, the most critical obstacle of all may not be physical or political. It's systemic. A fragmented economy that struggles to bring every citizen along. A mismatch between the world India imagines for itself and the realities it still battles daily. But history has shown that India has a habit of defying expectations. Every time it stumbles, it finds a new way to stand taller. Which raises the next big question. If the obstacles are so many, what keeps India moving forward? For a country that faces so many challenges, India's determination to rise again feels almost unstoppable. Beneath the headlines and political noise, there's a silent revolution reshaping the nation. one powered not by governments alone, but by its people. At the heart of this movement is technology. In just over a decade, India has gone from being a digital latecomer to a global tech hub. The rise of affordable smartphones and cheap data, driven by companies like Jio, has connected hundreds of millions of Indians to the internet for the first time. This digital awakening has sparked a wave of innovation, unlike anything the country has ever seen. Today, India is the world's third largest startup ecosystem, producing tech giants in fintech, edtech, and logistics. From UPI revolutionizing payments to platforms like BYJU's transforming education, India is proving that its greatest resource isn't oil or minerals, it's human potential. And that potential is finding expression everywhere. Young entrepreneurs are redefining what it means to build a business, often starting from small towns, with nothing more than a laptop and a dream. For every flashy skyscraper in Mumbai, there's a coder in Pune, a designer in Jaipur, and a data scientist in Kochi, all contributing to India's silent economic comeback. Then there's government reform, slowly but surely steering the nation toward modernization. Initiatives like Digital India and Make in India are encouraging manufacturing and innovation, while the Goods and Services Tax, GST, aims to unify India's vast and fragmented markets. These policies may move slowly, but they're laying the groundwork for long-term stability. India's diaspora also plays a crucial role. Over 30 million Indians living abroad send billions in remittances and global influence back home. Many of the world's top tech and business leaders, from Sundar Pichai to Satya Nadella, were once students in Indian classrooms. Their success has reshaped global perceptions of Indian talent and leadership. The cultural confidence of India's youth is another invisible engine. This generation isn't content being seen as a developing nation. They want India to lead in technology, diplomacy, entertainment, and science. They're more connected to the world than any generation before, yet deeply rooted in their identity. Perhaps the most powerful force of all, though, is resilience. India has weathered colonial exploitation, famine, financial crises, and pandemics. Yet each time, it finds a way to adapt, rebuild, and grow stronger. This resilience, built into the nation's DNA, is what turns obstacles into opportunities. And as India's comeback gathers pace, one truth becomes clear. This is not just an economic rise. It's a social, cultural, and technological awakening. But in a world growing more competitive and unpredictable, can India's momentum truly last? Or will the very forces that fuel its rise also test its limits? India's transformation isn't just changing its own destiny. It's reshaping the balance of global power. For the first time in modern history, the world's attention is shifting south and east toward a nation that blends democracy, diversity, and development on a scale humanity has never seen before. The geopolitical stage has started to tilt. As China's dominance faces scrutiny and Western economies slow down, India has emerged as the bridge between global powers. It's a rare position, a democracy large enough to rival China, yet trusted enough to partner with the West. This has turned India into a crucial player in global diplomacy, trade, and technology. In forums like the G20, the Quad, and BRICS, India no longer speaks as a follower, it speaks as a leader. It advocates for developing nations, challenges Western double standards, and offers an alternative vision of growth, one based on cooperation, not control. Economically, India's rise means a reconfiguration of global trade routes. As supply chains shift away from China, India stands to become the world's next great manufacturing hub. Its vast labor force, competitive wages, and growing infrastructure make it an ideal choice for companies diversifying production. Apple, for example, now produces iPhones in Indian factories, a symbolic shift showing how global manufacturing is being rewritten. Then there's technology and innovation. India isn't just catching up, it's set. Every rising nation reaches a crossroads, a moment where ambition collides with reality. For India, that moment is now. The question is no longer if India can grow, but whether it can turn growth into greatness. The road ahead is lined with both promise and peril. Economically, India is poised to become the world's third largest economy within the next decade. Its GDP numbers are soaring, foreign investment is pouring in, and new industries, from green energy to artificial intelligence, are taking shape across its cities. On paper, the dream looks unstoppable, but the truth is deeper than statistics. To truly become a superpower, India must confront the forces that still hold it back: corruption, inequality, and an education system struggling to keep up with a modern economy. It must turn policy into progress, not just for the elite few in high-tech corridors, but for the hundreds of millions in villages who still live without reliable healthcare, housing, or opportunity. Then there's the test of unity. India's greatest strength, its diversity, can also be its greatest challenge. With 22 official languages, dozens of religions, and countless ethnic groups, maintaining harmony is no small task. If division deepens, progress will fracture. But if India can channel its diversity into collective purpose, it could become a model for pluralistic power in the 21st century. On the global stage, India faces a delicate balancing act. It must navigate between the United States and China, assert its independence while embracing partnerships, and prove that democracy can compete with authoritarian efficiency. The world is watching to see if India's rise can redefine what power looks like, not through control, but through collaboration. There's also the challenge of sustainability. Growth at the cost of the environment is no victory. India's cities are already among the most polluted on Earth. Its rivers, once sacred symbols of life, are choking under industrial waste. The next phase of India's rise must be green, smart, and inclusive, or it risks repeating the mistakes of the West. And yet, despite the odds, there's reason for hope. India has something no economic theory can measure: an unshakable will to move forward. It's in the farmers who adapt to new climates, the engineers who dream of Mars missions, and the young minds coding the future from small-town apartments. The superpower dream is not about military might or political dominance. It's about possibility. India's story is a reminder that greatness isn't inherited, it's earned, built through struggle, belief, and relentless reinvention. So, can India fulfill its superpower dream? The answer lies not in what it has achieved, but in what it chooses to become next. Because the world isn't just waiting for India to rise, it's counting on it.